Welcome to Downshift. My name is Matt and I'm here at Cadillac House in Detroit, Michigan with the new Cadillac Sollei. It is the roaring 20s Gatsby-esque uber luxury convertible that I didn't realize I needed in my life until today. And today I'm going to show you everything that you need to know about the new Cadillac concept Sollei. So let's explore what this thing is. Now, it is a concept, which means you can't buy it. It is strikingly gorgeous though, and it just exudes that old money and old luxury in such an incredible and distinguished way. If you thought that Genesis concept cabriolet was a stunner, this is probably the new king. But then what about the body and sizing? Now, obviously this is a convertible, which makes sense given the name Sollei, right? And it's a mile long, just as things were back in the day. And back in the day will be a theme as we explore the rest of this concept. But when we get to the seating configuration, you can see that it is a 2+2 design with actual space in the back for people to put their legs. And then let's talk about engine, or propulsion rather. Now, of course, this is electric because vibration and sound and the odor produced by petrol is quite simply unbecoming and uncivilized for something such as this. Now, I would assume that if this makes a production, it would be a dual motor type thing, probably around 100 to maybe 80 kilowatt hours. But in typical Ultium fashion, your charge port is right here on the front driver's side fender, and it has the Cadillac goddess here, some brushed aluminum, and it opens in a very dramatic way. And of course, this is a concept, so let's focus on styling. Now, with this being a concept car, styling is the focal point of the car, and how could it not be when it looks like this? I really wish it was coming through better on camera because this Manila cream paint is fantastic. It's kind of a light sherbet pastel, really, really cool, and it kind of speaks to the interior, the way it's tied together. It's actually a heritage color. It's from some Cadillacs from the 57 and 58. And on top of the Manila cream paint, you do have a Sola yellow interior, and I do like the yellow on yellow. I think a little contrast would have maybe cheapened it a little bit, so I really like the fact that they've gone with the same. But incredibly opulent and ornate, those are the words that I would use to describe this car. Now, let's talk about the windshield, because it is kind of hand placed in a milled aluminum, and there's a texture on it that is going to kind of color shift it a little bit to make warmer or cooler tones, a little bit of blue in there, and it just looks really, really cool. But as we look at the profile of the car, the body line is very simple, the profile here. There's one sharp body line that kind of runs from the front grille here all the way down the belt. This is their A line, and then terminates, of course, in the back. And then there's a softer line that kind of runs right through here to your charge port and then dips slowly down there. But we'll talk about these doors because they, like the car, are a mile long. And you notice that you don't have door handles, so how do you get in? Well, much like the charge port, there's a little button that you press here and it electronically releases, and then you can get in the car. But the vibe that you get from this car overall is just long, low, and clean and simple. And I think that design works really well in tandem with the wheels. It lets these opulent and really ornate wheels kind of do the talking. These are 23-inch wheels. They're wrapped in a Michelin Pilot Sport EV tire, but they look really, really cool. I'm not generally pro chrome, but when you mix it in with the same kind of milled aluminum material with that kind of Aurora finish to it that's gonna color shift, that you get from here and on the windshield, I'm here for it. And then when you look at the rear, it kind of incorporates that familiar light blade that we've seen from basically all the new Cadillacs that have come out in the last couple of years. And then you've got a single full width tail bar that kind of gradients away from the light up Cadillac crest and then gradients out into the sides. Really, really elegant, very sunburst themed, as they've said. And it looks really cool. And then speaking of lighting, of course you're going to have specific choreography for welcoming you to the car and as you depart. It's very similar to the Lyric that we had the other week where the lower part of the crest illuminates and then you've got your vertical runners. They did tell me, unlike in the Lyric, this is not a single piece of LED behind. Each one of these strafes, each one of these lines in the grille is an individually hand-placed diode, and it just looks really interesting. And it also gives you added complexity and the ability to operate them individually. Now you can see the door, like I said, like the car, is a mile long. And it has to be because it has to offer access to these rear seats, which as we saw, are actually inhabitable for adults or people with legs, which is very cool. Now the seats, at least the headrests, look a little familiar to the Lyric, which makes sense. You've got perforations and you've got possibly some speaker integration here, but the perforations that you get here are so ornate and so detailed. And it does, again, go in that theme with that sunburst that they keep talking about. Very, very cool, very bespoke, and very interesting. And then you go over here, and of course, because this is an uber luxury car, you have a beverage chiller with crystal drinkware and a distinguished little plate to put it on. And it doesn't stop there, because you have this command screen here so you can control things like your seat posturing and your media and things like that. And then down here, you have a wireless charger, and it's covered in something called fine mycelium. It's basically derived from the structure of mushroom roots. It's kind of this bio-based material, very, very cool. I love that little detail. A very big thing in the fashion and arts industry right now, so I like that Cadillac's introducing that into their interiors. But the thing that I cannot get enough of is this wood. Hand cut, hand placed, very, very mid-century modern, in tandem with the kind of Sollei yellow interior. It looks fantastic. Look at these perforations that you get here on the side and the detailing. I mean, this is fantastic. None of it is stained. It's all hand placed. The perforations are done individually. It's just so cool. The attention to detail, this is the kind of stuff that transforms something from a luxury car to that next level, to that opulent luxury. This is my favorite part of the car for sure. And with this being a convertible, of course, there is a roof, or at least a roof option, and it is going to be a fabric roof in a material that they call daybreak. And then just touching on some of the interior materials kind of as a whole. We've talked about the Sollei yellow. This is a Napa leather seat. Again, Sollei yellow is the color name. It's fantastic. I love the way it mixes with the Manila cream. There's even some pink hues integrated to give it that sunrise feeling, and it does kind of shift a little bit. I don't know if it's coming through in camera, but you can kind of see it on that back armrest. It's got an iridescence to it, a shimmer to it, so it really has some dimension to it, and I really like the way that that looks. And the metal finishes all through the car have that aurora finish to it, so that kind of color shifts. It's got a little bit of blue in it, and the floor mat material is called basque, which is not like a normal carpet. It's almost like a canvas, but it's very, very cool. And the way that it integrates into the back seat makes it feel a lot more open and airy and spacious than I think a normal carpet would. And in terms of design, obviously, technology is a big part of this car. 55 inches, pillar-to-pillar screen. This is a new thing that we saw rolled out in the new Escalade, I believe, that came out the other day. But there's also another screen down in the center. So if you like screens, this is the car for you, but it's integrated really, really well. It's not just a tablet kind of stuck on. It's integrated with the woodwork. It's integrated into the dash. It feels very open. It feels very clean and modern and very, very cool. But you also have some unique bespoke things, like your 2-spoke steering wheel that looks kind of like the one we had in the Lyriq, but a little bit different, minus the little 3rd spoke at the bottom. It looks like we have Super Cruise stuff, or could in theory. And then there's also, you guys know I love ambient lighting, there's multiple zones for ambient lighting in here, and each zone can have up to 126 different custom colors that you can put in here, which is just spectacular. And let's say you're a bird enthusiast. What better kind of car would you want than one without a roof so you can see the birds? But this one takes it a step further, because it comes with this bird call. They're like 3D printed. It's got this case for these bird calls. I don't know, I'm not a birding enthusiast, so I don't really know, but it's very, very cool. And you also have a leather wrapped notebook and pen roll up. So you can do all of your bird watching from the luxury and comfort of the cabin of your Sollei. That's really cool. You can document every single blue-footed booby you ever see. You'll never miss one at the Sollei. And then one of the last little odds and ends here, you do have a heritage tribute on your center console here. So different generations of long-bodied, roofless Cadillacs looking fantastic. And you've got the Cadillac goddess from the outside tied in here into your center control wheel. But just a spectacular looking thing. Now, of course, there's no pricing because this is a concept and you can't buy one. But I hope that you can buy one because it looks fantastic and I would love to see these things rolling down the street one day. I really like the design here. I think Cadillac is on such a good direction with their design, leaning into that vintage, that kind of heritage, old money, romantic, opulent luxury that defined this decade a century ago, 100 years ago. It's instantly recognizable as Cadillac. It's fresh, it's fun, it looks fantastic, and if, like we just said, we spent some time in the Lyriq a couple weeks ago, if the underpinnings have anything to do with that, it's going to be a very complete and very cool concept. So thanks again to Cadillac for having me out at Cadillac House to see the new Sollei, and thank you to you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.